Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Yoko from Japan. Welcome back to my channel. And notice anything. Cut my hair, guys, after a year and 5 months. Like, yeah, I'm liking it just because it's easier in the shower. Anyway, JCPAC, of course, is the Japanese version of CPAC in the US, and it's cool because it was actually the second time this year. Last December, we had the first JCPAC, and I had met the people there already back then, but it's cool because this time again, the top people of ACU, like the chairman Matt Schulap and executive director Dan Schneider, they came again this year and they recognized me, and I'm like, yes! Last year I was just there to participate as an ordinary participant, but this year I was one of the speakers and I got to be on the stage and I asked questions as a modulator? I don't know the pronunciation. As you may be able to recall, last year we had a special guest, and that was Mr. Steve Bannon, and I asked a question from the audience and he answered and so on. And this year Dr. Mick Mulvaney came, and I was actually on the same stage in one of the sessions that he joined, and wow, like, I'm just having the flashback of him staring at me in the eyes, and I'm like, wow, like he works for Trump administration, right? So I'm like, wow, it's kind of dreamy or trippy, whatever, like that, you know. I felt nervous and excited at the same time, and it was interesting that it was happening in my life, that I would never thought that I would have that sort of opportunity in my life. So I'm just very grateful for all the people that let me get on there with him, you know, including those who are part of JCU, Japanese Conservative Union, and also all the people, including you guys, who made me famous and so on. So in this video, I'm thinking of sharing all the thoughts that went through my head while being at JCPAC. So first thing first, I was a modulator at 2 sessions, and the first one was with Dr. Mick Mulvaney, and we talked about trade, international trade, and I actually had this script prepared because they were so nice, but I changed things around a little bit and wanted to share the same picture with all the guests that were on stage. So conservative people in the world, including America and Japan, know that the narrative of the mainstream media is way off. Like almost all the time. It's missing the important point, like they depict the picture wrong. Even though I was asking a question, I made sure to insert my own opinion, which was how I see what's going on. Often when we look at the trade war that's been going on between the US and China, we tend to think inside of the frame that the mainstream media reports, but they are saying as if the US is breaking all the rules, or the US is ignoring all the rules. But what's really happening is China. They are ignoring all the common sense, common values, and they are manipulating. They're stealing technology, they're stealing intellectual property, they're cyber attacking, and they are way beyond the line, right? And the US and the rest of the countries try to talk to them, but they are stubborn. Why? Because they have their own agenda and their own tactics and their own cultural values, which are different from us. And so their morality and their standards, what we take for granted, can be different in that country, especially among the Chinese communists that are dictating the country. So we can't change China, right? So that's why the US is finding a way to go around it with the tariff and so on. President Trump is just such a great leader who points out all the wrong things in the world. We need to focus on what is true free trade, and that's what is true fair trade. And also we need to be focusing on the battle towards hegemony in the world. We always get tricked by the economy thing, you know, but the bottom line, it's about hegemony and security. So really it's about the frame or the picture that we see. If we stay passive and keep getting information that is already there without knowingly, we swallow their narrative, so we have to come back to ourselves, and we need to focus on freedom and fair trade and or the power balance in the world and so on. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this in this video is because this logic applies to all the problems that we are having today. For example, immigrants, what's happening in the US. I'll tell you over and over again that the debate over immigrant policy in the US is ridiculous. People think that they are talking about immigrant policy, but it's not even about immigrant policy. What you're talking about right now is rather legal immigrants versus illegal immigrants. Especially liberals, socialists, communists, overall the left in the US, they are confusing legal immigrants with illegal immigrants. And actually at JCPAC, I think it was chairman of ACU, Matt Shulap, he kept pointing out over and over again that Democrats are not following rules, and Republicans, on the other hand, follow rules. And I think that just summarizes everything there. I think that first of all, anything at all, we all need to agree that we respect laws and rules, right? On the top of that, there might be some special situation where there are refugees and there are, like, you know, immigrants that want to enter but they can't for some reason, but they have valid reasons to enter, that sort of things, and that is immigrant policy. But what's going on in the world today, it's like, oh, legal, illegal, doesn't matter, that sort of logic. And I'm like, I feel so bad for President Trump and all the conservatives out there in the US that if you say, like, you know, oh, you all need to follow all the rules and laws, you get called as racist and so on. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm laughing because it's so ridiculous. I feel really bad for you. So sorry for what's happening, really. You know, I love American English, I love American culture, I love American people and all the communities that are in the United States, but as you know, I love my own country, I love my own people, I love my own religion and culture and everything here, and if I get to be born again, I want to be Japanese again no matter what. It's how much I love my country. Regardless, I have to admit the US is #1, like biggest country in the world with all the power and so on. And I get the impression looking at the US that whether you are a conservative or the left, people love the US. You know, you might have guilt imprinted, but still you love your country. That's the impression I'm getting. And such a developed country with so much patriotism, I see some people like Democrats not wanting to follow rules or laws. And that is so ironic to me because America is such a country that I respect. I don't know, it's so weird, but I just feel, I think it's the respect towards the big, strong country, you know. That's like a dream, a different kind of American dream, you know. I just wish that my country was as bold and as strong and as powerful as the United States. And some common sense that you have is not common here. So there are things that I wish my country had and so on. But even with that mindset, I look at the US and some people like Democrats are not following rules, they're not following laws, and they don't, even though the country is highly developed, like #1 in the world, they don't respect all the rules and laws, and that makes me hard to respect the US anymore. For that reason, I still believe in making America great again slogan, really. That's really what's needed in this world. So with the same logic, you know, legal, illegal, or following rules, not following rules, that sort of things, the same things applies to security even. Because security wise, you know what's happening in the South China Sea and elsewhere. We Asians are suffering from expansionism by China, but they make up stories, you know. For example, the Senkaku Islands of Japan, it's apparently the Japanese territory from a long time ago, but China all of a sudden claims that it's their territory. It's just nonsense. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. They're like, oh, it's our property and blah blah blah, and they just expand. And there are lots of conflicts going on in Asia, and it's not just Japan and China. It's the same as China and India and China and Vietnam and all the other places, and we are all suffering, you know. And the thing is though, the media is always on the side of China for some reason. Maybe because they have money, I don't know what it is. Maybe because it has a lot to do with how the history is with media, but let's put that aside. The point I want to make here is that when, you know, it's China expanding and Japan and all the other countries are trying to protect our own place, right? And so there might come like militaristic movements and so on. China then points out what we are doing and claim that they are the victim, although they are making the move first. And then the media, the mainstream media, they magnifies what we are doing to defense, but they talk about our movements as if we are starting the war of some sort. It's the same thing as the economy, you know. The US is trying to stop what China is doing wrong, ignoring all the rules. So therefore it's China that is doing bad things first, and we are trying to do something about it, right? But security wise it's the same, that China tried to expand, we tried to stop them, and somehow we're the bad guy. Like, so frustrating. Man, this is why war occurs, I feel. Cause like, we can't take it anymore. You know what I mean? And if we break out a war, is that a bad thing? I don't know anymore. Anyway, just sit back. I was looking at the fundamental picture like that. Another thing is freedom. It's interesting how when I talk to American conservatives, I think a lot about freedom. But in Japan, if you talk to conservatives here, you don't really think about freedom much. In Japan, our arguments, like what makes you conservative is if you love Japan or not, if you're proud of your country or not. We're pretty left behind on that argument. Basically, if you dislike Japan and hate the history and so on, you're left wing here. It's just how everything falls into, so that's interesting. But so usually I miss the perspective of freedom, but if you just look at the world with the concept of freedom as a measure, then everything makes sense. And it's really, I'm very thankful for all the speakers of the United States that were there. Like, they enlightened me on the matter, you know. And I see the cultural difference as well. So even though we have common values for the most part, like, you know, respecting family, conservatives here of course want to have big families, and we love all the traditional living and so on. But I personally feel that the biggest difference between the conservatives in Japan and the US is what you think about the government. American conservatives want small government, right? But over here in Japan, we have the tradition of emperor family, what we call tenno. It's hard to explain, but the government here is giving all the social aids and so on, like you know, our hospital and so on is like, I think we only have to pay like 30%. It depends on what kind of insurance you have, but mostly, for example, me, I think I'm only paying like 30% of the hospital fees. And so some standards may be different, you know, due to the difference of religions and so on. But it's really eye-opening how the conservatives in the US is, like, especially the traditional kind of conservatives, because I really love the kind of world that they have. Every time I hear the true American conservatives speak, I start to really admire the spirit of them, you know, the spirit of them trying to do everything by their own, but they're cherishing the local community and their family, and it's just so beautiful, you know. I'm learning a lot from that sort of attitude of the US conservatives, that Japanese conservatives are kind of spoiled in my opinion. I feel like we are missing some part, the part where we were strong and that we had the spirit of like a samurai, you know, the spirit of the fight to stand up by our own and so on. It's been over 7 decades after the World War II, and that's the last war that we were in. So the people in this generation don't know how to fight, don't know how to make a living like in a true sense. Even conservatives, I feel like we are numb. So that's why I'm here, I think, talking to people overseas and getting stimulations and so on, and I'm here to wake everybody up here. So I was thinking about, you know, following rules and also freedom and the difference between Japan and the US conservatives and so on, and the battery is like blinking, it's gonna die soon, so I gotta wrap up this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. I want to talk more, but I'll do some other time. If you want, follow me on Instagram, because sometimes I make like 10 minutes video, you know, just to chat. It's not politics much, just to, you know, hang out. But I am so energetic and so positive, so that might, you know, light up your day. So follow me on Instagram at randomyoko, okay? And oh, support me on Patreon as well, because I need to live. We are not rich at all. Me and my husband, we go to a lot of places doing all the political activities, so we don't get money, instead we spend money, so it's hard to maintain our living. So if you can support us on Patreon, I mean support me, technically, that'll be great. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll talk more, okay? I feel like I haven't released all my energy or all my thoughts yet, so stay tuned. I will be making more videos soon. Anyway, have a great day from me, okay? I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye!